Hello, everybody. It's the afternoon of Tuesday, which is a wonderful thing. We've made it past Monday already on another week heading towards Christmas. And just before I speak to John, let's have this.
I need to get going, Mel. See you later.
Oh, and as the music fades from that and it disappears into the distance, you were thinking, there, I'm going to nick that riff and put it into one of my next albums. John, thanks for joining me. Explain to me first of all, why the capital O next to the M?
Because I'm really, well, is it efficient or inefficient when it comes to typing? Typing too quick and leaving my finger on the shift button when hitting the capital M.
So it was an accident to begin with, but then it became a happy accident.
It did, yeah. There's a girl called Faye who's involved in a lot of the creative side of the imagery of John Mouse and stuff, and I think she just picked up on it because, like, in pretty much every email, it would look that way. So yeah, it just kind of stuck. And there's a few other John Mouses around, so sort of helps.
Yeah, she said when you put yourself out on things like Twitter, John, that will be really good because people will be able to go, that's you.
Yeah,
because you've got a big O.
Yeah, exactly.
there you go. Now, before we go delving back into the history, I saw you the other day in London. Playing with Piroshka, which was a marvelous thing. And in fact, the time before that I saw you was playing with Piroshka in Bristol.
With the band, yeah. That's right. Yeah, that was pre-lockdown, wasn't it? So that was.
I know it was almost like no time had happened in between, but so much had. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, So you would have seen two different kinds of shows then, basically, from John Mouse.
Yeah. Which it's probably not a question you want to answer or even can answer, but which of those do you prefer?
I like them both. I'm going to sit on the fence here.
Yeah.
I like playing with the band and having that kind of style of music and having that kind of ability to like interact with musicians. But I also kind of like the kind of what you have to do when you're by yourself. So you have to put on a bit more of a act and a show and a bit more theatrical and I can hear myself sing when I'm by myself as well, which I can't really hear when you've got a really loud drummer and a guy playing guitar next to you with amps everywhere. So yeah, for me actually, it's probably the solo thing because I can hear myself.
Yeah. I mean, you really did delve into your sort of inner early Peter Gabriel at that show with the taking off of the mask, the face makeup. How much do you enjoy all of that?
Quite a lot. I thought about because I knew about this tour for a while. And just to help with the changeover and space and time wise and all that to help out because I was driving as well and selling merches. I'd thought about it for a while and what to do with this set, and I'd worked on it quite a bit, and it just needed a little bit more. And I'd always had the idea about some kind of headpiece, and I didn't want it to just be a bought mask first of all.
No.
So I wanted to do it myself. So you've got the Frank side bottom element kind of vibe about it.
Yeah.
So there's that. But also when I took the mask off, I wanted there to be like a bit of a point to having the mask on in the first place, So that's why the makeup was still there, so that the pigeon is still part of me, you know, the remnants of it. So you can't get rid of that kind of existential dread of the pigeon, which had manifested itself in me. Nobody has a clue what we're talking about right now, do they?
No, probably not. But it's always your show's always deeply thought provoking in a way, but immense fun at the same time.
Yeah,
which is really exactly what I think you'd probably want them to be.
Yeah, and thanks for saying it. That's kind of the lyrical content's like that as well. So I kind of want to try and reflect what I'm writing about in the performance, I suppose, as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love the t-shirts as well. You picked out one guy in the audience that was wearing one of your t-shirts at that gig.
Yeah.
Just explain for people that are new to John Mouse, and indeed perhaps listening to this on Radio Land later on, because this will go out on radio.
Okay.
What the t-shirt looks like.
So the t-shirt was launched as part of to promote the last single taken from the last album, which was Buy to Let Industry Expert. And the whole album was written more or less at the start of the very first lockdown. And we aimed to write and release a song every week. That was the plan. And we did that. I think we did 10, 11 songs. I can't remember exactly. And Buy to Let Industry Expert was sort of influenced by the Instagram images of an artist called Bedward Williams, North Walian artist, who was talking about similar kind of things and ideas that I was contemplating and mulling over at the same time. And he was doing a great kind of like visual representation of my brain, I felt. So we've met a few times, and his partner is a mutual friend. So he's come to some of my shows and stuff, and we've discussed him actually, you know, like singing on one of my songs in the past. I've never quite got there. So when it came to doing a t-shirt and having some great imagery on the t-shirt, I thought the person who was kind of part inspiration for the song would be the best person to create the design for the backprint, really. And I can't remember exactly what the backprint was, but it was something about a commercial landlord driving in a car and pondering some fucking bit of life. Oops. Yeah. I can't.
Are you actually an industry expert in anything?
Well, I'm a course leader in events management, so
there you go.
There you are. Why not? But it's kind of nice because the front of it just says John Mouse, Buy to Let Industry Expert. So you could kind of take it seriously as well if you wanted to, and be really like, there's a buy to let industry expert. Let's Google him up and see if we can.
Well, I was going to say,
invest.
I was going to say you should have a buy to let website.
Yeah.
And just see how many hits you get.
Yeah.
You never know. So where did music start for you then? Going all the way back, where did you start?
What, listening or
both? Listening, playing.
Okay, so listening. I wasn't really into any cool music. It was all pop music for me listening as a kid and growing up.
Yep.
My parents didn't really have much music in the house. It was like the odd Yellow album, one Queen album, maybe, Christopher, Simply Red.
Oh, yeah.
Simply Red. Brian Ferry, not Roxy music.
Yeah.
You know, it was
easy listening.
Yeah, but nice. Do you know what I mean? And
I
was really into pop at the time, you know, like Michael Jackson and like Bad and Thriller and 5 Star and Johnny.
Star.
Yeah.
Rain or shine.
It'll always be 1 in a million. Yeah, so, you know, I was just really into pop, and then music changed for me on Now That's Right Whole Music 17.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very specific. Okay,
well, it
so
is.
This was a groundbreaking album for you then.
Yeah, Now That's Right Whole Music 17 is a groundbreaking album for me, because I've been asked this question, you know, or thought about it anyway.
Yeah.
And like, I think I listened to it was on record, so side 1. Record 1, side 1, and that was your normal kind of stuff like Eurasia, Blue Savannah,
Yeah.
Polar Abdul, Opposites Attract. So, you know,
Yeah.
just, you know, good pop songs in the charts
Yeah.
at the time. And then I think, and you can Google it if you want to, but it was either Record 2 Side 2 or Record 1 Side 2 that I ignored for a long time. And then one day I just put it on the record, and I think it was Step On, Happy Mondays, Enjoy the Silence, Depeche Mode.
Yeah.
I think The Farm was on it. I think the Soup Dragons was on it. And I was just like, my God, this is pop music, but not pop music like all the other pop music I've listened to.
Got a little bit of bite to it.
Yeah, and that was it, basically. And I think, you know, I think I went out and bought a Farm album. I think I went out and just listened to loads of Depeche Mode and then realized who Brian Ferry was and started listening to Roxy music. And so, yeah, that was the change. That was the really, real big shift for me, I think, musically, all the way back to start. But I'll always keep like kind of pop music there. And I still think that exists in the musicality of what we release then as well, even though the lyrical content may not be as sugary as normal pop music.
I think that's a very genuine answer, sir. I mean, I think it's important to be like that as well. I mean, you know, I've had about 80 guests on this show now.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, really? Was that the first thing you listened to? And it's the same when you do sort of like, I'm a social media marketing manager. It's the same when you do polls and things online about the first album you bought, and some people are like, yeah, it's some kind of avant-garde, you know, weird fit. And you think, no, you didn't. You know, I mean, I'm going to be completely honest with you, John. The first album that I bought was Father Abraham in Smurfland.
Brilliant. See, now that is the kind of first album that I'd want to buy myself.
Yeah.
The first record I bought, so I'd guessed it for Christmas, you know, that Bad was bought for me or given to me by Father Christmas. But the first one, and I've talked about this with students, the first record I ever bought was 2 singles at the same time, because I had £3 on me or whatever, and I went to John Menzies.
Menzies.
Yeah, and I bought the Anfield Rap.
Yes.
And Jive Bunny Mega Mix.
Why wouldn't you?
And I bought the 2 together. So I haven't got a first record, but they're the first 2 records I bought. And the reasons why, that was what was in the shop. That
was it.
Do you know, and that was it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and I recognized Liverpool, even though I wasn't a Liverpool fan. I knew the team. And I'd heard the Jive Bunny song on the radio. So that's how I bought my first record. It's not like through the way that music distribution has changed, you know, with choice. That was my choice. Okay, John Menzies, Tonopandi or Pontypridd, wherever it was. Yeah. What's on the shelf? How much can you afford?
Do you know what? Some people might say that actually there's elements of both those records in what you do now, but just a lot better, but a lot better quality. So you've got the kind of talking rap kind of vocal.
My John Barnes, yeah.
Your John Barnes, and you've got the kind of dancey, you know.
Yeah. You're probably right.
You're still there.
I don't think my brain has moved on.
Just better quality now, just in a more professional vein. But,
thanks, man.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, when I listen to someone like you, I feel that you are just having a lot of fun with your music.
Yeah. I mean, what's the point otherwise, right? And I always want to make music that I'd like to listen to myself, and that's it. That's it, basically, with regards to my music. And the production of it. I write with someone, and by myself sometimes. And when I write with Phil, we have the same musical tastes and same kind of ideas. So we're always on the same level in regards to what we want.
Yeah.
Well, not always, but you know, as good as you can be.
So that was your start of your listening that's the listening experience that kind of turned the page for you, as you were now 17. I'm going to go and have to listen to now.
Go and have a look.
Again.
Go and have a look. I think it's side one, record one, I think.
Okay, but then in terms of actually getting into playing music or making music, when did that start?
Not for a long time.
No,
I wasn't musical at all. I enjoyed singing a lot. I tried to be in choirs and stuff, and I had a beautiful voice when I was a very young boy, and I was always one of the first kids at the front, like singing and then it broke, and I didn't know what to do with it, didn't know how to handle it or anything. So I thought I couldn't sing ever again, and it knocked my confidence a bit, and because I always really enjoyed singing, but I just didn't know how to handle a voice and what to do with it. I was trying to, you don't know, do you? So I was just trying to do the same thing, and it was something terrible. So I moved to kind of just writing poems and stuff like that then. So it went down to that. I'd left the voice alone, but just started writing poetry and just short stories and just nonsense, squiggles and stuff like that. So did that, and that didn't really pick up a guitar until I was in uni, maybe when I was like 19, something like that. Started singing Blur and Oasis songs, on the guitar, C, D, and G, A, if you're lucky.
Advert. There was a great song. By Blur. If people remember it from Modern Life is Rubbish.
Yeah.
It's about the easiest Blur song to play. I think it's 3 or 4 chords. Brilliant. Great.
Yeah, so didn't really pick up a guitar until then, and a mate of mine had this big, massive, jumbo 12-string guitar that had 6 strings on it, and I kind of learned to play on that. And it was painful. But I knew straight away that I was learning guitar to write my own music for no other reason. I didn't want to play other people's
that's
songs.
something we both have in common.
Yeah.
Is
that where you?
Yeah,
you started?
I was 14 when I first joined the band, so I started in music a bit earlier than you, but I joined a band as a singer, and I just kind of progressed in that vein. And then I got to university. My first year at university, I couldn't find a band.
Yeah.
So I did a bit of sound engineering and stuff like that for people, and went and joined a local radio station, because that's great, because you got to play music at least. And second year, then I did find a band. I managed to kick out a female singer out of a band to join this band. But yeah, it was not until sort of later into my second, almost third year at university, and I was still surrounded by musicians and music, whatever, and that I had access to lots of guitars and whatever, that I decided, do you know what, I'm going to pick an instrument up and learn it. But it was purely to write.
Yeah.
I had no interest whatsoever in learning. As you say, I learned 1 or 2 songs by sort of like playing along to them. Throwing Muses' Pearl was the first song that I learned to actually play along to. But I just sat there and wrote lyrics and, made a noise alongside it, you know. And then eventually someone went, "Well, that's not that bad." And then and then I just looked for other people that could actually play it better than me.
Yeah.
That was the way.
That's what I still do.
Yeah. It's good. It's a good technique, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's like, I'll play you my song. Sorry about the playing, but here we are. And then they pick it up and they do these marvelous things with it, and you just think, oh, that's great.
Yeah. I'm a bit lazy like that, I suppose. If I know somebody else can do a better job than me at something, I'll leave them to do it. Because I just want to focus on my strengths and areas that I enjoy more than other things, really.
The fun bits. Bits. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, here's the thing, is that a lot of people don't really realise, is that actually a lot of people that are really great musicians spend an inordinate amount of time on their own in a bedroom or wherever, just practicing the thing over and over and over and over. It's really boring.
Yeah. It was strange doing this solo show because, you know, rehearsals are in rehearsal rooms with other people in the band. Yeah. And this was me playing around with a MIDI keyboard, pressing play on a computer, and learning the lyrics. And there were a lot of lyrics.
Yeah, you do write a lot of lyrics, John.
Yeah, and thinking about the performance. So the whole practice and the rehearsal side of it was. I actually enjoyed it a lot. Doing it, practicing myself. It just gave me a lot of time to think about.
Yeah.
The whole experience, I suppose, and I still wasn't happy by it with it all in the end. And I'm going to try and I've got a gig coming up on the 14th of December, and I'm making a few changes to the set, not drastically, but enough of the things that irked me a little bit on the last tour.
Well, that's interesting.
That I want to change a little.
Just give me. No, I don't want to pry too much, but just give me one little thing. What irked?
The running order of the first 4 or 5 songs, there was a point where 3 songs sat together, and it was nothing else was really going on apart from me dancing and singing and pressing play. So I needed to add something instrumentally to those, so playing something basically.
Yes.
But the thing was, I only had 30 minutes and for the set, and the songs that I felt that I could add something to with another instrument couldn't quite fit in a 30-minute set. So this gig is going to be about just under 40 minutes, and I've introduced some songs with more playing on it, and one of them is a new song actually from the next release. So that's going to be good. Yes, I think it's just making it a bit more musical as opposed to press and play.
Well, do you know, I mean, obviously I've got nothing else to compare it to, but I really enjoyed both those gigs with Piroshka, and I think it's a really interesting mix between the two elements, you and Piroshka. I mean, who approached who there? Did they approach you?
So the first show in Bristol, I work in Bristol, and
so you muscled your way in. Oh, yeah, I work down the road, so I might as well do it.
I had no idea who the band was, and the local promoter said to me, I'd asked him for shows in Bristol, and he said, "Oh, we got this show with Piroshka coming up," and I was like, "Oh, I'll check it out." I never say yes to shows straight away. I always want to listen to the music and see if I like it. So I pressed play and started listening to it and was enjoying it, and then seeing who was in the band and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I think it'll work. Our set will work well with theirs. And probably a very similar audience as well, even though it's musically different. So, yeah, it went really well. And we got on at the show, after the show, and we just stayed in touch, basically. Via socials, and then when they announced this tour, I just said, "Have you sorted support out?" And they were in the middle, and they were asking a couple of acts, and I think I just sold it to them that I'll be by myself. I won't take up much time, space. I'll help drive and sell merch. So I kind of use those as my trump cards to to muscle my way in. But no, I know they enjoyed the music as well. So I don't think they'd take somebody on tour if they didn't like you. And you know, we're all staying in touch after it, which is really nice. And hopefully we'll do some more shows again with them in the future.
I think for the audience, it gave them a really great evening as well.
Yeah,
on both occasions, because you know they're not jumping around type stage people.
No,
you know, for them it's all about the sound, and it's all
about
right. But
yeah, exactly.
And I'm not saying you're not about the sound, but you're an entertainer, sir.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm the ultimate warm-up act, really, and I get
think
the
you
crowd.
really are, yeah.
I get the crowd warmed up for them, and I know my job as well. So I want, when you are an opening act, I know your job. I know you shouldn't be on there for too long. I know people are not coming to see you. I know it'll be slightly harder for you as well. And my aim is to just try and get people in a good mood, ready for who they've come to see. And I think I know I do a good job of that.
Yeah. But I think you win people over at the same time.
Well, that's what I like to see. I like to see people's face change from to obviously on radio that's not going to work, but then to like at the end. But like I said at the end of the tour, and we played Guildford, and I said thank you very much, and I said to the audience, and you lot were expecting a young shoegaze band. Unlucky, do you know what I mean? But I you know, and it got a nice little laugh from everyone, including Paroshka, and but I just think that would be a bit boring. Do you know what I mean? Just having like a slightly shitter version in the same realm and same genre of music.
I know, I totally agree. I've been to too many shows like that where it's effectively, you know, kind of a copycat band of the main band.
Yeah.
As the support, and you just think, well, no one's come to see that.
Yeah, you know? And I can see why promoters do that, and I can see why, you know, venues and agents do that, because they want to keep the genre together and to keep it all nice and easy and understandable for everyone. And the acts maybe look up to those acts, so it's a nice opportunity for them. But actually, for a show, a warm-up act is a warm-up act, and a support act is a support act. You know, I'm there to fluff the crowd, essentially.
Yeah, but get the crowd thinking at the same time. I know that's that's where I think you really fitted in with them, because they're a fairly cerebral band as well.
Yeah.
You know, and you do get people thinking and think, but also thinking, what on earth is he doing? Which is great.
I think there needs some reflection time, doesn't there, after it?
Yeah, exactly. How much of it is just made up on the spot?
None of that was made up.
Absolutely none of it was made up on the spot.
That was all rehearsed. And I got that from, I watched this band called X Girl years ago. I was driving them around, and every night was the same. Bang on the same every night, but it didn't feel rehearsed, and it didn't. It felt normal,
and you learned from that.
And I learned from that. And obviously, it's not exactly the same. There are slight differences and nuances, and you play to the crowd and you change little bits, but the core structure of it all. And there's certain times where I'll do certain things that are really important. Read a bit about David Byrne, about he's written about that as well, and. So yeah, there's room to maneuver, but and I worked in a comedy club for years as well, and I would see the stand-ups coming in and delivering the same thing every week. It would change it would veer from the spine,
yes,
but the spine remained the same throughout, and that's kind of
I get it. Having done a bit of comedy myself, there may be a little, you know, someone might comment on something and that might push you off, on a little tangent.
Yeah,
but your general snake, as you say, stays there all the way through. No, that's important. That is important.
I think so, because, you know, without a plan, you're going to get lost, and you're going to, at least, even if it's not going well, you know, well, I'm sticking to my plan and I'm doing what I can do and what I'm in control of.
And you do adapt it as well. That's what you're saying, and that's what you're going to do going out this next time. I mean, I remember trying something at the beginning of a gig where we played a whole load of gigs around Newcastle area one time, and I used to start the show in the toilet, and
was that part of the show, or just because you were nervous?
No, that was actually part. Well, it's a good place to be, just in case you are nervous. But that we actually got it so that there was musically there was this little bit that the band would play, and then in time, and you had to kind of test it beforehand with the system. In time, I would flush the toilet and
brilliant
that in. Yeah, absolutely.
Lovely.
So there would be this overpouring of, followed by by a load of vocal, and then suddenly run in. Yeah,
lovely.
Yeah,
I can't get that picture out of my head now.
It's just kind of a, it was just kind of an element, and it was just like, oh, where's that noise coming from? And and here he comes. But I used to love, a bit like you. I used to love interacting with the audience, and I've always enjoyed being out there as well. Standing in with the audience as well was quite an interesting thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think breaking that barrier of the you and them and the stage is an important element of what I do anyway. It doesn't work for everyone, but I think that trying to make a connection in whatever way you can, and if that's just being a little bit closer to people and like actually testing their boundaries a little bit as well, kind of like to push the audience a little bit. And I maybe have gone too far in the past.
That's okay.
When I didn't really know what I was doing, but now I'm much more respectful of the audience now and their space, I suppose. Even though I will wander around and have a dance with them.
Before we tell everyone where they get your music, which is always an important part of this, and do buy the T-shirt, folks, because it is amazing. I am actually wearing the Proshka T-shirt today.
Are you?
But sorry, guys. Yeah, there you go.
Loves Trips and Gallows one. Did you buy that off me?
I wish I bought off John. So there we go. Well done, John.
We are. Thank you.
But it's too cold today to just wear a T-shirt.
Did you pay by cash or card?
I paid cash, sir.
Did you?
Yes.
So that was the first time we took a card machine on tour, and it was a wonderful tool to have.
A wonderful experience to have a card machine. But before we talk about where people pay you money, which is always a good thing, one question that I quite often ask people towards the end of this is, if you could collaborate with anybody musically, dead or alive, who would that be? Or it could be dead. It could be dead or alive. Or dead Or,
I'd like to sing with Johnny Cash.
Wow.
I'd like that. Yeah. I'd like, but somebody would have to play. So, but that's okay. So I'd like to do a duet with Johnny Cash. That would be good. I'd like to. I would like to do a song with Underworld. I think that would be cool.
Called Cider.
But yeah, I mean, like, people that I like maybe have similar skill sets to me, so I don't know whether it would work as well, So people like, I like performers and lyricists and stuff like that, so whether we would work, we'd probably be fighting to do a very similar kind of thing.
I mean, you mentioned David Byrne earlier. Would you like to try something with David Byrne?
Well, I wouldn't say no.
No, I don't think many of us would.
I just pulled a muscle in my stomach.
Oh no! Oh dear.
Anyway,
industrial injury. I mean, I think David Byrne, from a point of view of perhaps just coming up with something different. I don't know. Do you remember an album by David Byrne called Rio Mono?
No.
Which was it was a sort of a Latin American, type vibe to it. With a lot of real good percussion groove going all the way through. I mean, I think he's just tried lots of different things.
Yeah, and that's right. Like, if I had money and budget and stuff, and backing, and if I was a little bit better, I'd like to do more things like that, but you can only do what you can do, right? So
yeah. Well, that's the great thing. At least that's the great thing about computers.
Yeah,
is that you can experiment and do quite a lot with them. So you can make yourself sound bigger just with those computers. I mean, think about it. Years ago, you would have been up there with your Bontempi organ.
I still am sometimes.
Sometimes. Yeah, you need to get one of those. Do you remember the sort of little handheld bomb you blow in?
The melodicas.
The melodicas, that's what they're called. Yeah.
Well, it's an omnichord on the White Witch song. That's an omnichord.
Yeah.
I like all different instruments as well. So
yeah.
But
yeah. Thanks so much for joining me today and talking to me about your music, John.
You're welcome, Graham.
It's
Thanks
an
for having me.
Pleasure having you here. Where do people get it? Is Bandcamp the best place, or
it always is the best? Bandcamp's the best place. MyMusic. I think everything is up on there, so you can. I think there's an offer on the full digital discography back catalog. I think it's like about 50% off, so you can just buy everything for about 20 quid. Do you know what I mean?
Why wouldn't you?
And I think it's about 8 albums on there. So
and you can gift it to people as well, folks. So if you
oh, that's nice.
It is, isn't it? Give the gift of John Mouse for Christmas. And that's brilliant. I mean, John would love that.
I would
to see on Christmas Day people opening up a nice little email going, "You've been given John on Christmas."
And make sure it's the right one, not the reggae artist and not the American one who stormed the castle. With Ariel Pink.
No, the one with the big O. All right. Just remember that. You'll know because it's quite. Once you've heard John, you won't mistake him from anybody else. All right, it's that's fair to say. Is that you're quite unique.
Thanks, Graham.
Which is a wonderful thing. John, thanks for joining me today. Thanks for doing this.
You're welcome.
And I hope to see you sometime in the new year somewhere.
That'd be brilliant.
Probably Bristol, because I'm just south of Bristol, so that's that may be the case.
There you are, December the 14th in
December
Bristol.
the 14th. Oh, right. Whereabouts?
In the Exchange.
In the Exchange, right, folks. If you're in and around the Exchange in Bristol, December the 14th, it's either go and see John or have a mediocre meal somewhere. So just don't do that. Just go and see John instead.
Exactly.
There you go.
Thanks, Ray.
Cheers. Thanks for coming on. Bye for now.
Ta-ra.